We're interviewing Stephanie Flanagan, a grade 2 teacher at Rexton, or in Rexton, and she's been teaching between 13 and 14 years.
So we're going to start our interview with basing it from Module 2 from the comp book. So our first question for you, Stephanie, is do you think rules and procedures are important in the classroom?
Rules and procedures are very, very important. I really think you need to have rules and procedures before you can have any learning take place. It's all about putting together a foundation that will work in your classroom, and that might happen through trial and error a little bit. I guess it's sort of important when you do come up with your rules and procedures that you stick to them and you try not to change the plan along the way. I'm speaking from a grade 2 and mainly 3 experience, so it needs to be quite consistent.
That's true. I think at any level it has to be quite consistent. That's what they keep telling us.
Yeah, I would say that's
if you plans
probably
like
true.
don't go, if you say like a punishment or something like don't, you have to give it, like don't take
Right.
it away or
Don't go back
not
on it.
gonna.
Say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
Exactly. So how do you teach a rule or procedure that you have in your classroom? So how would you model it, and what does it look like, and what does it sound like? Would you do that as well?
Okay, so for teaching rules and procedures, sort of 2 ways. There's the expectations that I would have, that I would introduce to the students and let them know what my expectations are. I would most likely create what I like to call anchor chart, so just simple chart paper and marker, and copy down what I expect, and then at that time it's the students' turn to add to it. Then I usually look at the chart and see how I can combine them into shorter sort of rules or procedures, I guess, that we can follow, so there's not a huge list. And you need to be really clear. So in the morning, I want them to copy their homework down because it's usually more or less the same. So I want them to copy their homework down, and then after that I want them to get out their book boxes and start to either do what we call read to self or read to someone, where they can practice their spelling words and the students know exactly what is expected. And I'm in the room when this happens, but if I had to be out in the hallway where the lockers are, it's all happening because it was modeled at the first of the year for probably 2 weeks straight, and then we would say, okay, let's have someone model it the correct way, let's have someone model it the incorrect way, just to kind of get the students laughing a little bit about it, and they want to try to correct each other. What did we do right? What did we do wrong? So it is important for them to see what it does look like, or they can't meet the expectation.
Yeah, we talked about that like a lot ago. What does it sound like? What does it look like? Because you might be able to say what respect is, but they're not going to know.
They don't know what that is.
means.
Yeah.
And we also talked about how like sometimes it might take you up to 3 weeks to actually implement those rules and procedures, and then after that, your classroom can run a lot smoothly once you have them, once they're aware of it.
And one of the big little sayings I use in my room is, let's try that again. So if someone is doing it incorrectly, I'll usually call out the behavior, like whether it's privately or depending, if it's like a couple of them causing problems, then I'll say, oh, you need to try that again. Show me what that looks like again. Or let's take a few minutes off your recess and you can show me that again. And then usually you just have to do that a couple of times and it corrects itself pretty quickly.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next question is, in your classroom, what are some of the main rules or procedures that you have, and like why would you think they're important?
One of the things, like I said, I have a lower grade. I try to make a big fuss about like who the leaders are for the week, and not necessarily just to like lead the line around in the hallway and that kind of thing, but within the classroom. And I try to make a big deal about what is a leader. So we talk about a leader being someone that you look up to, and that maybe someone that you would respect a lot, and how does a leader act. And so we kind of, because it is elementary, we talk a lot about leaders. So if it's your position if it's your turn to be a leader, then you have to rise to the occasion and do a good job, or the students decide that you're not being a good leader and then someone else takes your place, because if it's your role to lead for the week, then it's you have to do a good job. But that's just one thing we do. Another thing that I have in terms of rules and procedures would be, it's all about, like, I use the hand signal quite a bit. I teach them that at the first of the year. So I just have the raise the hand to
Like
get
as an
their
attention getter?
yeah,
Okay,
and
we
then
use that
they
too.
so they'll do that. They like that a lot. In my room, when it's a noisier activity, like if it's math games or different things, just in the microphone, I'll say 3, 2, 1, freeze. And I taught that at the first of the year, and the gym teacher uses that, and I think the music teacher uses that as well.
Okay.
So, and it's often used in the cafeteria, so it's kind of like a language they know throughout the school.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so I find that's a really good one. And then I'll do show me your eyes, show me your ears, and get them to touch. And then I say, okay, 3, 2, 1, we're starting, look here, like just little things like that. And then I'll say, I'm missing 2 pairs of eyes, like just little kind of things and to get their attention. But lining up all those things, like to create calm atmosphere. So you need to figure out a way to do that. Like, I mean, you can call boys, you can call girls, you can call, they know what number they are on our class list. So I'll say odd numbers can line up, even numbers can line up.
Okay.
But I find, like, it does seem like a little thing, but it does create a calm environment. Like, they're not trying to push and shove. And I don't make a big deal about arriving like first and second, like, you know, we're all going to get there. I tell them that at the first of the year, because sometimes students are quite rambunctious, like in the lineup and trying to push up against lockers and
Yeah.
you know. So I do think, even though it seems small to walk a group of kids through the hallway, you want a nice calm kind of environment. So you have to establish that in your classroom before you can take it out into the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So once I do it like over and over again, they kind of get accustomed to.
That's
Yeah,
the way we do it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And if you like, I remember being elementary school, if you didn't do that, you know, sit back down again, try it again.
Exactly.
Yeah, try that again.
You're not going until you do it right.
Right,
Okay, let's do it right this time.
exactly.
Yeah. So you're not interrupting other people's classes when you take them into the hall. either.
Right.
Yeah. So the next question, I guess it goes off of that one. So the main rules and procedures that you put in place, are those influenced by the main goals that you have?
I would say more or less, but sometimes we do have goals that we try to reach for, like as a class. And one idea might be fill the jar with marbles, and it could be the caught you being good in the class. So individually, if you know you're caught, like we call it caught you being good, so picking up the paper scraps off the floor, putting it in the garbage, I'll say put a marble in the jar, and then we try to fill it, and they're nice and big, the marbles, but we try to fill it, and we'll come up with a goal, like depending on what it is. Like I'm just trying to think, we're almost December, so in October they earned a movie, and we couldn't take too much class time for that, so the kids were really good with watching it over lunch.
Oh, wow.
And then into, I think, maybe 15 minutes or something, but it was movie and popcorn. So we just picked like little goals, and it's just to create like those positive like incentives and those kinds of things in the classroom. So we do have, I call them, they could be main goals, they're kind of like mini goals in a way,
Okay.
but we like to change it up all the time just to get everyone in on it, and it goes to show, like, if you can see the growth in the jar, and they're really proud of it, and they know that it takes like the whole classroom community to help fill that jar. And you're going to have the barometer child that can't always do it, but usually within the run of a week I can catch them doing something, complimenting someone or whatever. So that's kind of a nice little thing to do just for like a class goal.
And then usually like they would reach those goals. A lot of time we talk about not having your standards like too high that they can't reach,
Yes.
but not too low that it doesn't mean anything to them.
Yeah, so I'll just put like tape mark on the jar where we want it to go, and then they'll try to beat it for the next time. They want me to
Oh, wow.
raise it a little higher,
that's
like
good.
raise the bar.
Yeah, that's a good way to
Yeah.
like show different.
That's it,
different
so
how your
I-
expectations grow.
That's it. And like one year I did it, I had different size jars, and you know, we sort of did like these little mason jars, and we graduated. So that was a good one too, but I did find this really big one, and then I just have this little piece of tape that I move, and the kids think it's neat. Put it a little higher, we can do it. So
Yeah, it helps them put expectations on
Yeah,
that
themselves too.
motivates them too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, what's up higher? We have to do a lot better this week or this month. Or
yeah, that's it. So it's fun.
So this kind of question that's not on here, but like, how would you define the difference between rules and procedures? We kind of talked about that a little bit in our class, but do you find them like they're kind of different?
Yeah,
They are
find,
different, so-
Yeah, I find them to be a little bit different too. I think the procedures are kind of expected after they're modeled and taught. You know, you come in, you sit down, you change your book, you get your new book out. Like I'm just thinking in my classroom, procedures to me become routine with the kids, whereas the rules are associated a little bit more with someone getting in trouble because they did something out of line, whereas with the procedures, you know, you're probably not going to get in a lot of trouble if you forgot to change your book or you came in a little late and didn't get your homework copied down. Like to me, the procedures are a little bit more routine, and I teach what to do, like how, like what that looks like. And the students laugh because I totally become a student